Welcome, latest Motley Fool scoreboard. I'm on and shockingly, we've got longtime fools Toby Bordelon and Matt Frankel giving a 1 to 10 rating to a Moneyball wreck. It's Kratos Defense and Security Solutions, ticker symbol KTOS. We'll rate the strength of Kratos' business first, including factors like industry and competition. 10 is invincible, a 1 is hopeless. Toby's at a 7, Matt, you're at an 8.
Yeah, and on the surface, you might not think that this is such a business that has competitive advantages. They're number 91 on the list of how much on the defense contractors. But Kratos is the leader in a lot of the more affordable parts of warfare. They're the undisputed leader when it comes to UAVs right now. They sell their drones to every branch of the military. They're great momentum there. The hypersonic missile systems. They're the leader in small jet engine manufacturing. They provide the small jet engines for a lot of like Lockheed Martin and the other companies, the other defense contractors. So they are leaders in a lot of key areas. And now there are some risk factors here, but I mean their customer list is great. I mentioned some of the other defense contractors. Their primary customer is the U.S. government, a business that has paid its bills for the last 200 years and literally has a printing press if things go bad. There's a lot to like here, but there's some competition.
Yeah, 7 for me. There is definitely a lot of potential here, but I think there's some risk as well. Look, that Valkyrie drone is flying. It's expanded rapidly, including beyond the U.S. market, right? There's a variant they've got in the works for the German Air Force, so that's good to see. The competition is pretty high, though, and Kratos did lose out on the first round of a recent program to some other companies that would have been quite nice if they had gotten some of that. The dependence on the U.S. government, I think, is a big risk, too. Now, they're a great customer, but they can squeeze you sometimes if they want. We are seeing a little bit of pushback in that space from the government right now.
Yeah, the risk is smaller the larger you get, and I think Matt said 91st on the list. For management, a 10 is Warren Buffett, a 1 is Homer Simpson. Matt's at an 8, or sorry, no, Toby's at an 8. Matt, you're at a 9.
Yeah, Eric DeMarco, he's been CEO since before Kratos was its own company. He's been over 20 years in leadership roles and made the kind of controversial at the time strategic decision to focus on underfunded and underappreciated parts of the defense budget, like drones, like hypersonic systems. That's not where the money was going 10, 15 years ago. So he made that decision, and the pivot has really paid off. Great vision and just a really all-around solid leader.
Yeah, 8 for me. Solid leadership from CEO Eric DeMarco. Clear vision. He's patient, willing to invest heavily in R&D, which is a very necessary part of this business, especially the space they're in with the drones. He's led the company to record bookings and backlog, growing revenue. He focuses on long term and is willing to invest for the future, even at the expense of current margins, which I think you like. You like the long term view here.
Financials, a 10 is a fortress, a 1 is yikes. Toby's at a 6. Matt, you're at a 7.
Yeah, I'm a little bit higher than Toby. I think the biggest complaint, if you just look at the surface, it's low margins right now. They're not making a ton of money. This is a year of kind of 2025 that we just saw is a year of kind of what I would call transitional margins. The contracts that they have in place right now, the value goes up significantly in 2026 and 2027. There's a lot to like about the financials going forward. Solid balance sheet. Not a lot to not like here.
Yeah, I went 6. Financially, where it gets a little dicey for me. And Matt's right. The margins are where I have some concerns here. Look, the company's debt free and has got a decent cash balance that will let them keep that R&D machine running, I think, without worrying too much. But profitability is low. It's kind of right on the edge from GAAP profitability at the moment. Margins are low. Cash flow is inconsistent given those R&D needs. 2026 should be a year of margin expansion, right? I think that's what we're hoping for. We'll see if that happens. If it does, then I would be inclined to go a little bit higher here.
All right, Toby, let's move on to valuation. How well will Kratos' stock do over the next 5 years, and how safe is it? 10's a sure thing, 1's a lottery ticket.
On growth, I'm saying 10 to 15%. I think there's a lot of potential here. You don't need much. A couple of big contracts, and I think we see the stock move a decent amount. Safety, though, 4. I don't really think there's anything safe about this business. Contracts are their lifeblood, and if they miss out on a few more big ones, I think that cash flow starts to dry up quite quickly. Competition does create some risk, too, especially from the bigger players who might decide to kind of go after them hard.
Yeah, I said 15% plus. I think they're filling a really interesting niche in terms of they call it affordability. They focus on affordability. Things that a drone costs a lot less than say a new F-35, for example. They're filling a nice niche. I think that when I interviewed Eric DeMarco, he said unless you think that we're suddenly going to have world peace, which given the tensions between Russia, China, and the West, is not that likely. I did give it a safety score of 5 because there are some things that could disrupt it. They're very dependent on government contracts, as I mentioned. The political landscape of the time can change, but this is the first year, for example, 2026, the fiscal year, is the first time that there's been a separate line item in the Pentagon's budget for autonomy. And that's right in their wheelhouse. So there's a lot of trends that are very favorable for Kratos right now.
Do you like this discount angle? Kratos is the Dollar General of defense. Thank you to both Matt and to Toby. They're giving Kratos a strong overall score of 7.2 out of 10. Matt has no top hits, but Toby likes Northrop Grumman, much larger, better. Look out for a new scoreboard every market day at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next up is something good, I promise. Till then, Fool on.